Howdy, this is Severely Zero, and today we are going to be revisiting the interaction ranges. Now, this isn't a change to the numbers, and there's nothing incorrect about the numbers that we found so far. In the last video, we essentially proved that the interaction radius is actually a box that's 1.5 from the center to the edge for small maps, and then 3 meters from the center to the edge on medium and large maps. Now, with the introduction of the new Bleasdale, there were a couple changes made to map sizes where Bleasdale and Point Hope are now both considered medium maps. And with that change, it looks like medium maps may now be treated like small maps in that the interaction range is 1.5 meters from center to edge instead of the 3 meters like it was before. So we're going to test that change just to make sure, and if it's true, we'll make the changes on the cheat sheet accordingly. So we have a very similar setup here that you're probably used to by now. We are in the foyer of Bleasdale, which is a medium map now. We are going to put some salt down in the middle where the crucifix is currently, and once it steps in it, we'll hit the voodoo doll and see if it throws a plate. But just to kind of gauge the size of things, here is the interaction range for large maps. Now we have the plates inside of that one, so that if it is that extended one, it can still touch them. And then this shows the interaction range for small maps. Now, you will be able to see, I think it hit the breaker. You'll be able to see with this particular radius that we've given it enough space that if the corner happens to go over, it doesn't actually hit a plate. So what we're looking for here is for the ghost to step in salt, we hit the voodoo doll pin and nothing happens. If that's the case, then we know that the interaction radius on medium maps now matches the ones for small maps. So let's go ahead and do this. No interactions. Again, no interactions. No interactions. Okay. Still none of the plates hit. So let's kind of gauge where that 1.5 is. So we'll move a plate or two inside the range. I'll do it one more time just to show that it is still that 1.5. Well, that is somewhat unexpected. Though we know on those last two that it walked away for a bit. Sometimes it's hard to get to stay on the salt. So let's go back to the lobby and just show what ghost it was. And we can talk about the implications of the map changes there.
Welcome back.
So it's a Raiju,
Some jobs ready for you.
which should have the normal interaction sizes, not twins or anything. So originally we had verified that the small maps had that range of 1.5 from center to edge, and medium and large maps had the same one of 3 meters. With this, we showed that it's definitely not that 3 meter radius anymore on the medium maps. Within those first 4 hits, we should have seen anything, whether it was the photos on the stairs, which I noticed towards the end, or any of those plates that were on that radius inside the 3 meters but outside the 1.5. Though I think the issue we were seeing with the last two, and I'll go back in and retest that the 1.5 does work, is it moves, and we didn't have a ghost that was showing us any UV prints with the black light there, or we just couldn't see them with the rugs. But I think it may have walked behind us enough by the time we hit the voodoo doll, it had already moved away from those plates. So, but the implications of this are quite large. Now, for Point Hope and Bleasdale, where they were originally small maps, they're going to feel like they did before because they would have had that smaller radius anyways. But this also changes all of the Sunny Meadows restricted maps and the prison. I'm trying to think if I missed any, but those are the two that are coming to mind. And they'll now have that smaller radius, which for prison is going to be quite difficult because it is such a large map with large open rooms. And for Sunny Meadows, that's going to feel a little bit different because where on the full Sunny Meadows, you'll have interactions that can cover most of the chapel, or a large portion of the chapel, they won't be able to anymore. So there's going to be some oddities that happen there. But let's not end there. I'm going to go find another game with a ghost that's in a good spot again on Bleasdale, and we'll test the 1.5 meter radius. We are back here at Bleasdale in the living room with a ghost that has UV, so we can keep track of the footsteps. We've got our setup set up where we can see the candles in a circle that's just under the 3 meter radius, or the 1.5 meter radius. As you can see here with the tier 3 motion sensor. And at this point, we're just waiting for the ghost to step in the salt so we can hit the voodoo doll pins. There we go. So yeah, we can see that it was able to move the candle during that first step. So let's go ahead and put some more salt down. Okay. Yep. So that 1.5 meter radius is still good. But we'll call this one good. The first one was pretty definitive. It never threw anything in that circle when it was past the 1.5 meter mark. And in this one, we were able to show that when it was within the 1.5 meter mark, as long as it wasn't the heart pin, it was throwing stuff. So, yeah. I feel like that's pretty conclusive evidence that, yeah, the medium maps are now being handled the same way as small maps in terms of interaction ranges. So we'll be making those changes to the cheat sheet here in a little bit. And thank you so much for watching.